So the administration is also facing bipartisan criticism from lawmakers over what's going on with COVID, right? The testing, the empty shelves, all of this. And there's been so much money, $5 trillion has gone to COVID relief and to doing everything possible to put us in the best possible position to manage this COVID crisis. $73 billion, just a piece of that, was allocated in the past 2 years on testing and on preparation for having the tests that we need. Joining me now, Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. He sits on the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee. Senator Scott, it's always good to have you with us, sir. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Martha. Good to be with you.
You know, I think this is what really makes people wonder when they look at the money, and this is all taxpayer dollars. So this is an agreement on the part of the people of America and Congress to say, okay, really bad situation. Let's throw $5 trillion at this situation. And now they can't find a test. And the doctor says, you know what, I don't have those treatments. Sorry, don't have them. What's going on?
Yeah, there's no doubt that this administration has mishandled COVID and the response to COVID. Think about this. We started this last year off, this administration, with a $1.9 trillion supposed COVID spending, with only 1% for vaccines and less than 10% for COVID-related health. In other words, they spent $1.7 trillion overheating this economy, leading to inflation that feels like a tax increase and is a pay cut. Those are the results of this administration's mishandling of the economy and the COVID challenges. If you listened to the hearing just yesterday with Dr. Walensky and Dr. Fauci, the one thing you walked away with is an oxymoron, is CDC guidance. It is implausible that we don't have kids going back to school, and yet we have the Chicago's Teachers Union speaking to the mayor and calling her relentlessly stupid because she wants kids in the classroom. This is a mishandling, fundamental mishandling of our economy, of education, and the things that parents care about the most.
You know, and if you look at what's been going on and you follow what's happened in South Africa, then you follow the UK, it isn't as if this should have been a huge surprise that this Omicron was really quickly transmitted. Here's Dr. Robert Redfield talking about what's going on with these antivirals. We're the United States of America. We ought to be able to make these things readily available to doctors and people in the early stages so that they don't even end up in the hospital. Watch this.
The second thing that's really a failure, in my view, is there needs to be an Operation Warp Speed-like mindset to developing antivirals. Not just 2 antivirals from Pfizer and Merck, but we need a whole portfolio of antivirals that can really begin to put this pandemic back in its place.
The White House is ramping up their orders for these now, Senator Scott. What do you think?
Well, it's really late in the game. Bottom line is this, that we had an opportunity to handle this crisis at the beginning in 2021 under this administration. Remember, President Biden came in the office promising us a unified country, but looking at what he's doing with voting, he's trying to divide our country. He said he would handle the COVID relief. Things would get better, not worse. More deaths in 2021 than 2020. Here's what we understand as the American people. We're losing confidence in what he says because what he wants us to do is deny what we see and believe what he says. And when you spend trillions of dollars fighting and combating COVID and you can't find tests, kids can't go back to school, virtual education seems elusive, if not impossible, for single moms, we should start asking ourselves, is it time for change in leadership? And that answer is yes.
So I want to ask you about a different topic here, because we saw President Biden talking about voting rights and the legislation that he really wants to push through. As you heard me talking about a moment ago with your colleague, Senator Thune, he basically said that anybody who's not on board with this is equivalent of Bull Connor or Jefferson Davis. He also talked about getting arrested. And this is a reference he's made before during civil rights activity. Watch this.
I did not walk in the shoes of generations of students who walked these grounds, but I walked other grounds because I'm so damn old I was there as well. They think I'm kidding, man. Seems like yesterday, the first time I got arrested. Anyway.
What do you think about that, Senator?
Martha, that is disheartening. And the importance of the civil rights movement can never be overstated. The fact that we have a president of these United States looking for a way to get laughs at a rally around lying to people about voting is just hard to digest. But as a Southerner, I'm offended. I'm insulted that he refuses to recognize the tremendous progress made by Americans, not by Republicans or Democrats, not by black folks or white folks, by Americans coming together to fight for the rights of every single man, woman to vote. How he missed the opportunity to shine the bright light on progress and instead use something that has been proven to be untrue time and time again, his being arrested. Yeah. It's just offensive to me as a Southerner, but more importantly, it's offensive to me as an American. We fought too hard, too long for the progress that he is denying.
Hey, I just have a couple quick second, but I want to ask you one more thing because Senator McConnell said today, you need it really struck me. He said you need a driver's license and a vax card to go anywhere today. Does it suppress the vote in this country to ask people to show identification?
Unequivocally, no. That's the short answer. But remember this, Martha. African Americans, Hispanics, and the majority population in this country all agree with voter ID at the ballot box. I'm giving a speech tomorrow because I'm so offended by what this president has said. We need to address point by point the fallacies of his speech and celebrate the progress of the greatest nation on God's green earth.
Senator Tim Scott, thank you. Always good to see you,
yes,
sir.
ma'am.
Thanks for being
Thank
here.
You.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.